Hey folks, welcome back to your Week 11 NFL picks. Last week we went 8-6. We got kind of demolished early during the early games on Sunday, and then tried to rally, but just barely came up over 500. We're for the season we're at 89-61, so just below 60%. We're going to try and improve upon that this week. So here we go. Let's jump right in tonight. Cincinnati, the Kittens of Cincinnati are playing at the Black Crows of Baltimore. This one is a rematch, of course. It's a divisional matchup between these two. Baltimore's favored by 3.5 at home. Over under 46.5. Now, Baltimore won at Cincy earlier this year, but then Cincy has kind of improved ever since then, and that was until last week, until they played Houston at home and lost. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and pick Baltimore because I think Baltimore's going to be stronger at home. Although Baltimore went into a tailspin last week themselves and lost at home, so against the Browns. So I think they're going to try and make better on it tonight, and Baltimore will come out ahead. Early Sunday games bring us Pittsburgh against Cleveland. The Brownies are favored by 1 at home. Total over under in this one, 32.5. Very low scoring game. This is like a 16 to 18 type of score they're looking for here. So not even 16 to it's something like that. It's in the teens. So this is tough. They lost Deshaun Watson. Cleveland has. Pittsburgh has a pretty good defense. Both teams are 6-3 in this. I'm going to go with the home team here. I'm going to say that Cleveland's going to be able to pull this out. PJ Tucker will probably be able to, if that rookie doesn't start for Cleveland, PJ Tucker will probably be able to come in and do his thing against Pittsburgh there in Cleveland. So I'm going to go with Cleveland. And then Chicago, the Cubbies of Chicago are playing at the Kittens of Detroit. Detroit is favored by 7.5 this one. 47.5 is the total over under. I think Detroit will cover at home, certainly against the Lions. I'm sorry, against the Bears. The Bears are not a good team, and I just the wins that they've had have been mostly because the other teams just screwed up so badly. I have no faith in the Bears whatsoever. So going to go with the Lions at home here, and I do think that they will cover. And then you have the electrifying Chargers of Los Angeles at the GBs of Green Bay. The GBs are 3-point underdogs here at home against Justin Herbert. And the Chargers over-under is expected to be 43.5. I'm going to go with the home team here. I'm going to call the upset, and I'm going to say that the Packers will be able to prevail at home against a pretty weak opponent in the Chargers. In Lambeau Field. I think that if this game was in LA, I would definitely call it the Chargers, but I'm going to go with Green Bay and call the upset in this one. So then we have the Las Vegas Raiders at the Dolphins of Miami. This is my team, the Dolphins, of course, and living in Vegas, I've been trying to get into watching the Raiders. But the line here is really fat, 13.5. The Dolphins are favored by. That's really a big line. And then you have an over-under of about 46.5. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I don't know that they're going to cover. Who knows what team's going to show up when it comes to the Dolphins. They've not beat a team with a winning record this year. Vegas is coming into this with a 5-5 record, so even if they win, they still won't be beating a team with a winning record. But I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one. I think they'll be able to swing this one out at home. Then you have the Giants of New York at the Washingtons. Washington is favored by 9 in this one. And then you have the Giants, who are 2-8 this year so far and just not looking good. They looked just a disaster last week against the Cowboys. And then you have the total over-under in this one, 37.5. So they're not expecting a whole lot of scoring in this one. I think Washington will prevail at home with that defense, certainly against a very weak opponent in the New York Giants. And so then you have Dallas at Carolina. Dallas is favored as a 10.5-point road favorite in this one. Carolina again with 1 win on the season. They're 1-8. Over under in this one of 42.5. I'm going to take Dallas, but I don't know about 10.5 on that spread. That's a really fat spread, especially on the road. So I think Dallas will prevail. Whether they win by the line against the spread, I wouldn't feel safe taking that. And then you have the Titans of Tennessee visiting the Jacksonville Kittens. Jacksonville is a 7-point home favorite here. Tennessee is 3-6. The Jags are 6-3. Over under here of 39.5. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars, as I did last week, and I got burned badly because the Niners just trashed them there at home. But Tennessee is no San Fran, so I'm going to take Jacksonville at home with this one and feel pretty good about this. And I think they will cover at least 7 for sure. And then you've got Arizona, the Cardinals of Arizona, playing at the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are 4.5-point favorites here. Definitely going to take Houston. Arizona, they came out and they had a win last week, but against the Falcons at home. This is on the road though. The Cardinals are just not that good. The over-under here is 48.5, so they're expecting a little bit of scoring, but that's probably mostly on the part of C.J. Stroud. I'm going to go with Houston on this one. And then you have the late games. The Buccaneers of Tampa Bay sail their pirate ship into San Francisco Bay to play, actually Santa Clara, to play the 49ers of San Francisco. San Francisco's favored by 11.5 in this one. Total over-under 41.5. I'm going to go with San Francisco at home. I think that they will prevail. It's still a fat line for such a small over-under, 11.5, but I think that San Fran's going to be looking to make a statement at home again. After that 3-game losing streak, and then they won in Jacksonville last week, I think they're going to be looking to kind of right the ship at home now. So I'm going to go with San Fran. Whether they cover it at 11.5, again, that's not something I would be comfortable with doing. Then you have the high-flying airplanes of New York playing at the Buffalo Bills. Bills just had a totally off-character game against the Broncos at home on Monday night there. They are favored by 7 in this one. Over-under of 39.5, but I'm going to go with the Bills again. Even though the Jets beat them earlier in the season, I think that was the first game of the season, in fact, the Monday nighter against the Jets in New York. This one's in Buffalo. I'm going to go with Buffalo. I don't know that they'll cover the spread. The total over-under is 39.5, so anytime you get below that 40 line, they're not expecting a whole lot of scoring. So I'm going to go with Buffalo at home here. And then you have Seattle at the Rams. This is a tough one. Seattle's favored by 1 in this one, and with such a small spread, I'm gonna go with the upset here. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go with Seattle. I think Seattle will prevail on the road in LA. Over under a 46.5. I think that Seattle will be able to win, and I think that they'll definitely be able to cover. Rams just aren't that good. They certainly haven't regained the form that they had during their Super Bowl year. What was that, 2 years ago now? So definitely going to take Seattle at home. And then we have for Sunday night, Minnesota at Denver. Not the greatest of matchups, but Minnesota's certainly hot right now. They're on a win streak. Denver's favored by 2.5 in this one. Denver is just coming off that win against Buffalo, in Buffalo there on Monday night. This one's kind of tough. Over under 42.5. I think Denver will win this. I'm going to go with Denver on this because I think that Denver, Sean Payton's kind of got the team clicking a little bit better now. Their numbers have come down from earlier in the season in terms of the yardage they were giving up, the defensive plays they were giving up. I'm going to go with Denver and call this one for Denver. And then Monday night brings us the rematch of the Super Bowl from, 9 months ago in February. The Philadelphia Eagles playing at the Kansas City Chiefs in the rematch of Super Bowl 57. Let's see, KC is favored by 2.5, and the over-under is 45.5. Both teams, Philly's 8-1, KC is 7-2. This is tough. I'm going to go with Philly. I'm going to call the upset, and I'm going to call Philly on the road in KC. Very tough place to play, but I think Philly will be able to pull this out Monday night. I'm going to go with Philly. Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll see you again next week. Have a great weekend.